Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. And let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from Ijustliketobake, and it says, my boyfriend 29 male is going to propose, but I 29 female do not feel loved anymore. And I'm questioning the relationship. My boyfriend and I have been together for a very long time. We dated from the time we were 16 to 22. We then broke up for a while but got back together when we were 25. We are both 29 now. We live together and I know he's going to ask me to marry him soon, so I want to get my feelings in order before anything happens. I love him, I really do, but I feel sort of unloved. I know once couples become comfortable with each other and live together, the spark or whatever dies, but I don't like feeling like this. I still make an effort. I ask him how his day went. I'm affectionate. I put out, so to speak. The thing that really bothers me is when I say something, a lot of the time he ignores me. When I bring it up, he says that he didn't hear me or that he was busy. For example, I'll say, "Did you see there's going to be a strike tomorrow?" And I won't get a reply. I'll wait 10 seconds, still no reply. Then I'll ask, "Hello, did you hear what I said?" And he'll go or grunt in response. He does this often, just abrupt responses after ignoring me and me having to repeat myself. I'd understand if he did this if I was talking his ear off, but I'm not even a talkative person. Yet when he talks about anything, I pay attention, respond properly, validate his opinions, and reassure him when he needs me to. Affection-wise, I always give him hugs and kisses. He hardly ever does this anymore without me asking. I compliment him and tell him that he looks handsome. He hasn't complimented me in any shape or form in probably over a year now that I think about it. I still look the same looks-wise. I haven't gained weight or anything. Not that that's a reason to stop loving someone, but you know how some people are. So I don't know what changed. Have things just become stale? Is this what inevitably happens? The whole situation has been troubling me for a while, but I'm not sure what to do. Our anniversary is in 2 months' time, and his sister accidentally let it slip that he's going to propose. If it weren't for that, I'd think that we've been together for too long and now he's sick of me. I tried talking to a few of my friends who are already married, and all I got were varied versions of, "That's how men are." He wasn't like this before. He would pay attention to me, talk to me, and overall I just felt more liked, you know? Now it just kind of feels one-sided. The one time I attempted to kind of bring it up, I opened with, "Do you still like me?" Because sometimes it just doesn't really feel like it. And he replied with, "If I didn't like you, why would I be here?" I could tell it was going to end up in an argument, so I just let it go after that. How do I handle this situation? I want to bring it up with him, but I don't know how to do it. I guess I'm not really good at articulating how I feel. Or should I not say anything because this is just the way relationships go? Please advise me. I'm a little lost. A commenter says to OP, "You can't have an honest conversation about this without it turning into an argument, with a red flag on the end. Am I correct in guessing that this is a pattern, and whenever he doesn't want to discuss something difficult, you know it'll turn into an argument, so you just drop it? If so, red flag. My partner just proposed to me less than a week ago, and I can promise you that your friends are just in unfulfilling relationships. I call my fiancé a literal angel every chance I get because he is. Your dude feels comfortable and doesn't feel the need to put in any effort anymore. Could be because he's just going through the motions and he isn't really that into the relationship anymore. Could be because he doesn't feel like once you get to a certain point in a relationship, effort flies out the window. Neither scenario is good or how things should be. I think it's worth trying to speak with him again about it, but definitely don't commit to marrying this dude before you have an honest conversation." Opie responds saying, "Whenever I try to talk about feelings or things we need to work on in our relationship, no matter how carefully I choose my words, he will take it as an attack and turn it into an argument or just shut down completely and refuse to talk. Congratulations on your proposal. I think my situation definitely is a no more effort sort of thing. I know I have to talk to him now. I guess I'm just scared and nervous about the outcome. Android says, my ex, who I did become engaged to, was like this. Just completely uninterested in me, unaffectionate and not plugged into what was happening in my life. Some men are like this, but not you, and that's fine. My current partner is like chalk and cheese. I got all the things I was told I was asking too much for before. We will snuggle and cuddle all night, hold hands while watching TV, cook together and chat and laugh and be silly. Opie says yes, that's exactly my situation. But he wasn't like this before. He was sweet and affectionate and interested before. I don't know how I got to this point. Maybe it happened so gradually that I didn't notice until it was completely changed. Oh, I'm happy you found an amazing partner like that. And the commenters were right that if OP's going to have the conversation, it needs to be now, before any ring suddenly appears. And basically, if he can't handle that conversation without turning it into some kind of fight or shutting down completely, then OP gets her answer. You simply don't marry someone you can't even talk to about problems, because there's going to be more down the road. But it was about a month after this that OP came in with her update and says, I thought I'd provide an update. Thank you all for the advice. I appreciate it. So the day after I posted here, I talked to him. I told him that I feel a bit disconnected and I'd like it if he paid more attention to me and talked to me a little more. He just said, okay, but I could tell that he wasn't interested. The next day there was no change and I was a bit annoyed, so I spoke to him again. I said that I'm starting to feel lonely in the relationship and I feel like he ignores me and isn't affectionate as he used to be before. But all he said was that he didn't want to talk about it. I said that it was important and I might want to end things if we can't talk about this. Only then did he actually pay attention. He said that he ignores me because he's tired. I understand that his work is tiring, but he practically ignores me all the time. And as far as the affection and attention, he said, I don't know. Things just change, you know? I explained that I understood all of that, but I needed more. That maybe it was unreasonable for me to want that, and maybe the type of relationship I want doesn't exist, but I would not be happy in this relationship if things stayed this way. He then said he'd try more. That he'd hug me every morning before work, try to respond more when I spoke, and give me a compliment now and then. I didn't like how it felt like a list of chores he had to do, but at least he was willing to try, so I agreed. I also asked if there was anything I could work on for him, but he said there was nothing he could think of. By the end of the first week, he already seemed annoyed with the hugging. He just let out a big sigh, and it seemed like he was doing it begrudgingly. This felt awful for me, like I'm forcing this man to give me a crumb of affection. But at least he was doing it, I guessed. My breaking point happened last week when we were getting ready to go to a party. It was his friend's party and it was a fancy affair, so I had to get really dressed up. His niece and her boyfriend were also going, but came to our place because she needed help with her hair. She has gorgeous butt-length hair and wanted to curl it. As soon as her boyfriend saw her getting ready, he said, "Wow, you look so beautiful. You look like a mermaid," and hugged her. No prompting, no asking, he just did it. That's when my boyfriend called me aside and said, "I guess I have to compliment you now, right?" That was it for me. I said that I was feeling sick and needed to go to the bathroom. We were all supposed to leave together, but I stalled for a few minutes and told them I was sorry and they should leave, and if and when I felt better, we'd meet them there. As soon as they left, I spoke to him. I said that I was sorry I wasted his time, and I was so sorry that I didn't notice all of this sooner. I said that I appreciate his effort, and even though he was doing what I asked, it was not enough for me. I don't want to feel like a chore for someone. I understand that the honeymoon period and puppy love thing doesn't last forever, but I want someone to like me, you know? To like me naturally and instinctively, as a person. After explaining that, I told him that I was sorry again and that I was ending things. He started freaking out and told me to think about it some more, but I was sure of my choice. He then said that he understands and he's sorry and asked if I would still go with him to the party as our last night out, and also because he was going to be embarrassed to go alone. I felt bad because I didn't mean to do this on this day, and I didn't want to leave him hanging, so I agreed. I really didn't want to, but I went and we managed to keep up appearances. Then, in the middle of dinner, he proposed. I was shocked. I didn't know what to do and felt trapped. I didn't want to embarrass him or myself, so I said yes. everybody was congratulating us and I was in hell. It all felt so awful. It was so difficult to not start crying out of frustration. In addition to us technically being broken up, he knows I hate being the center of attention in public like that. When we got home, I asked how he could do such a thing. How could he put me in such a terrible position? He said I thought maybe proposing would change your mind. I said that it didn't, and I just said yes because it would have been awkward if I hadn't. I gave him the ring back, packed some of my stuff, and left. He was freaking out, asking me what he was going to tell everyone, but I told him to say whatever he wants. That I changed my mind, I'm flaky, whatever. I was emotionally exhausted and didn't care anymore. I feel awful, and I wish I could have handled that whole situation better or smarter, but I panicked and now we're here. Everyone is probably going to think I'm a jerk, but I honestly didn't know what to do. Anyway, things are over now, and I'm staying with my sister until I gather my bearings. He's been texting me, trying to convince me to reconsider. I honestly feel a little lost because he's the only boyfriend I've ever had. He was such a big part of my life. But I know I made the right choice. The absolute cheeky bastard. First, he had the nerve to say, I guess I have to compliment you now, like she's some kind of needy burden to him, instead of a partner of 10 plus years. And then after she breaks up with him, he thinks a public proposal is going to guilt her back into the relationship. That's exactly what it was. That proposal was emotional manipulation. He knew exactly what he was doing. He was trapping her in a moment where saying no was going to cause a scene. And even admitted, I thought maybe proposing would change your mind. And quite frankly, I think she dodged a massive bullet in this situation. But what do you guys make of this one? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story. Now, our next story comes from a throwaway account and says, I, 30 female, think my boyfriend, 28 male, resents me for earning more than him. So, I, 30 female, met my boyfriend, 28 male, a school teacher 6 years ago, when I was still a med student. He helped me during the difficult years of my residency, and we had what I thought was a solid relationship. We have similar interests in movies, music, board games. We had some arguments, but they were always resolved through talking. We always have fun together. Now that I finally finished residency and landed a solid job with good pay, we even started looking for a place to move together. The thing is now that I finally feel like we can start truly enjoying things, with a more stable financial situation and with me having more free time. He seems to resent me. I don't really understand. It started innocent enough, with him making slight remarks about me being a fancy doctor. I brought some new, more better quality and professional clothes, but now the remarks never seem to stop. We went to a holiday together. I booked a better hotel room than usually, because I now can afford one, and was very excited about. He told me I was showing off my new doctor money. I paid for his entrance ticket to a concert to a band we both like. He told me he would prefer we went to a local bar. I paid for dinner at a restaurant we always talked about trying in the future. He complains about the size of the portions. Yesterday, I gave him a new shirt. He told me, of course, now I have to be better dressed to be with you. I told him this phrase hurt me, and he told me he was just joking, which I said that jokes were supposed to be funny and not hurtful, and he accused me of being too sensitive. I left shortly after because he refused to talk more about it. I simply do not understand this man. I pay for things for him because I wanted to enjoy them with him. And since I can afford them and he can't, it seemed obvious that I could just pay his part. Gift giving is one of my love languages, especially if this gift is an experience we can have together. When we started our relationship, it was clear I would earn more than him someday. Me being a, at the time, future MD and school teachers having profoundly unfair low salaries. He even talked about being a stay-at-home dad. I'm profoundly confused by his current behavior. It seems clear that he resents me and refuses to talk about it. At the same time, we've been together for 6 years. I love him dearly, and I'm hoping it's just a phase. Any advice on how to deal with this? The top commenter on this one simply said, why are you making this about money when the real problem is that he doesn't respect you? Opie says, I didn't look at it from this perspective. At the moment, all I can think is that a man that was with me through my bad days seems to resent me during my good days. I don't know why. Man, this guy could be living the life right now, going to concerts, staying in nice hotels, trying fancy restaurants, getting thoughtful gifts, all while being with someone who clearly adores him and wants to share these experiences with him. Instead, he's choosing to be a complete berk about it and make everything miserable, and is accusing you of showing off rather than sharing the experiences with you, with someone that you're meant to love. And like the commenter said, it's not about the money, it's about respect. You're getting punished for succeeding. But there was many good comments on this one, just advising OP. Some saying, get out of that situation. Some saying there's more going on to this in the background somewhere. Others suggesting a conversation might help. But OP came in with an update and says, first, I want to thank everyone who took their time to read my post and give advice. I received messages asking how things went, so I decided to write this. The next day I sent him a message stating we need to have a conversation about what happened. I went to his house and told him I was hurt by his comments and especially by his dismissal of my feelings after. I said I understand that the recent shift of the dynamics in our relationship could be hard to deal with, but that I loved him, and I was really happy about finally being able to buy and do things we spoke about in the past and wanted to share this with him. He apologized for his behavior and told me he was feeling insecure and lashing out because of that. I thought the conversation was going very well and things would be better. Then he dropped the bomb. He cheated with another teacher from his school. He explained that the guilt over this was also making him behave strangely. He told me he was feeling less worthy and another woman wanting him helped him feel better, helped his self-esteem. But it was just one time and it was a mistake, that he loved me and wanted to be better. I just stood there. I didn't even know how to react. Cheating is a deal breaker for me, and I told him this at the beginning of our relationship. I thought he understood that. I thought he was the one. I think he noticed my initial lack of reaction because he implored me to say something. In the end, I just thanked him for his sincerity and told him we were over. He started crying and begging for forgiveness, telling me I was the love of his life and other things that, to be truthful, I didn't really pay attention to because all I wanted at that moment was to leave his house and never see him again. I moved to the door and he tried to block me. That was when I got angry. I don't remember exactly what I said, but I made clear I would not tolerate cheating, and he broke my trust, so that was it. I was breaking up with him. The end. I was so angry, I was shaking, and I'm proud that I managed to control myself enough not to yell. I just wanted to be clear with my intentions. So that was it. He wouldn't stop messaging with excuses, and that with angriness. But the final straw was a text saying how I was throwing away a 6-year relationship over a mistake. I told him that he was the one who threw the relationship away, and that I would be mailing him his things. Then I blocked him. Now I have to search for a place to take STD tests that have different staff from the ones in my hospital. I don't want gossip about me. I have to take some time for me, and then I guess I'll be back at the dating market. At 30, that will be fun. Sigh. Sorry for the lack of a happy ending, but I suppose that's life. It's always frustrating at the end of these ones when, the person says, you're throwing away 6 years of our relationship over a mistake. And OP's absolutely right to come back at him and saying, no, you threw away the fucking 6 years of a relationship. You're the one who cheated, you bloody Burke. OP sighing about being back in the dating market at 30 at the end there. The alternative is still being with this guy who's being disrespectful towards you, cheating on you, etc. I think you got far better things ahead. And deservedly so. You sound like an amazing person who will treat their partner with love, respect, kindness, and who doesn't want that, right? So go on, OP, get out there and smash it. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Did you see the cheating thing coming, or did it come out of nowhere? I wasn't really expecting that. It jumped out to me. Maybe I should have seen it. Some of the other commenters did. But let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and just a huge thank you for being here today. Your love, your support, your time, it always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being involved, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care, and much love.
Yeah, man, I remember being so naive when life was good, weather and palm trees. Back in the day, you were everything I need. But then along came a time when you crushed my dreams. Oh yeah, you played me like a fool, and you made me believe that the line between love wasn't thick enough to read. Oh yeah, you see we in despair, crime everywhere. You're selling false hope cause you just don't care. Nah, you just don't care. Nah, you just don't care.